advanced solution for any priority. Everything from gaming, 360-degree visibility, security, simplifying your wired, your wireless access, edge, WAN networks, you name it. So what we're going to do is roll to a quick video right now that gives a good introduction. I'll be back on the other side to tell you a little bit more about what's going on with our networking architecture. Take a look.
From the moment my day begins, I'm bombarded by issues from the CEO on down.
Today, Optisha opens their new campus downtown.
75,000 square foot downtown headquarters.
We're having wireless issues.
The connections are dropping.
Blindly trying to find the root cause, never sure if an issue is truly fixed because my team can't recreate it.
We're trying to find the problem.
It might be insufficient
We're
bandwidth.
definitely having connectivity problems.
Without enough time or the right people, we're constantly chasing a growing mountain of problems that outpace us every day.
All the days for the network to have an issue. Today, we can fix this fast. Do you think IT can pull this off?
What if my network could be intuitive? Like my senses, recognizing patterns, instantly processing information, making split-second decisions, and gaining context by clearly seeing the big picture.
We think we have the problem
DNA
isolated.
Center is recommending a pass-through.
Well, you can with intent-based networking by Cisco. It provides my team intelligence from the millions of sensors and devices connected to it.
Access points stopped accepting 5
I'm going to pull up the historical data.
I'm going to run a wireless spectrum sweep from the network sensors.
Letting us travel back in time, seeing all the factors,
We need to enable clean air.
then guiding us to the right solution fast. It's like nothing before, giving us the context to know what is truly important. Now the network helps my team take the right action immediately, freeing us up to create, innovate, and help achieve what's next.
Nice work, everyone.
Intent-based networking by Cisco.
Intent-based networking, such exciting, interesting stuff. You know, Cisco DNA, it really is the network intuitive. It is this ability to flexibly, centrally manage your enterprise network, very quickly provision out new devices, turn up network functions using just a few quick clicks to lower your costs, reduce risk. And what's so great about DNA, you're going to hear about it throughout the week here at Cisco Live, is that it is open, it is extensible, it's software driven in its architecture, and it's really accelerating and simplifying your network operations. Only Cisco can provide this single network fabric, providing this deep intelligence and also integrated security. And that way we'll deliver that automation and those analytics at scale across your entire organization. Check it out. We want you to be able to focus on innovation, build your business, drive your business. Don't waste your time on things like time-consuming repetitive network configuration tasks. It's really exciting. We've got another tape that we're going to roll to right now. Rob Boyd had an opportunity to interview one of our Orange Business Services customers. Let's go ahead and check out that interview together.
All right, welcome to the Cisco TV studios. My name is Rob Boyd, and it is my pleasure to welcome Pierre-Louis. How are you doing, sir?
Rob, today, on this first day of Cisco Live?
Yes, it's a busy day. There are people, we've been in the keynote, and it's been extremely busy in a good way. So a lot of stuff happening. Thank you for your business. Want to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, but first and foremost, make sure you understand what is your title, what is your responsibilities?
So I am VP of the Connectivity BU within Orange Business Service,
Okay.
in charge of all the WAN and LAN offering for Orange Business Service.
So when you say Orange Business Services, can you define what that means? That's a specific subset of everything that Orange could be doing for customers, correct?
Yes, Orange Business Service is dealing mainly with the enterprise customers within Orange.
So
it's the
business to business?
Business to
That's-
business.
okay.
It's a B2B entity of Orange. So we are serving customers around all over the world in 220 countries and territories.
Wow.
And we are mainly serving MNCs who have the wish to have a one-stop shop in their telecom needs. And here we are to serve them.
Well, I respect what you do because I think that's one of the most competitive and just easy to overlook. You guys are constantly under pressure to differentiate your services, I think, and to really provide value for customers and showcase and make sure that everyone understands that it's not just about providing bandwidth. It's not about just simply providing a circuit. There is a lot that needs to be done, and you guys have found various niches to be able to do this. But what are you seeing specifically in terms of market trends in your area that you guys have had to adjust to?
Yes, today the market is very active, as you know. And our customers have very different needs. We have segmented them in various categories. You have the one who wants hybrid networking, combining internet and VPN, and are mainly application driven, I would say. You have the one which are looking much more for agility, where they need a lot of orchestration in order to be agile in their network deployment. You have the one who are more internet-centric. They think that internet now is their network, and we need to bring them some solutions.
Yeah.
And you have the one who are application-centric, I would say. They have already put their application in the cloud, and they need a very easy connectivity to make their application work wherever their end users are.
Has it been rapidly changing in your perspective from what you've seen over the years? Is it hard to keep up? Is it hard to stay a step ahead of where customer demand is going, you think?
Yeah, the work is changing very fast. For example, just give you an example. We estimate that 2 or 3 years ago, if you are at one site of a customer's, around 50% of the traffic of the site is going to internet.
Okay.
We estimate that today, this proportion is 80%.
Wow.
So you see the change is over 2 or 3 years is dramatic.
Right, it's going to shift your profit models, it shifts what services you're going to be able to invest in, I'm sure. Now, as I understand it, you guys have been using SD-WAN has become an important service for differentiating what you provide. Can you tell me, for anybody that may not be familiar with, from your perspective, because I think of it from a customer perspective more often, but as a service provider, SD-WAN is doing what for your customers?
So SD-WAN for our customers is a way to do dynamic application routing. In a nutshell, is a way to maximize the use of internet and VPN in an economic way. So as such, what we have developed as Orange Business Service is a managed SD-WAN solution. We are taking the brilliant Cisco Viptela technology, putting that in our architecture, which means that we are doing a specific architecture which allows underlay and overlay service to work nicely together. We are doing service wrap around this solution, which means that we are managing the end-to-end solution for our customers, including the internet sourcing if they want to. So we are again a one-stop shopping there. And globally we are including also all our security functions. You know that for a network service provider, security solution is a must. So we are packaging that with our SD-WAN solutions.
Okay.
And finally, I would say we are offering to the customer an operation mode where he can delegate everything to us if he wants, or he can take back a little bit of the service if he wants, if you want to take control of it. And so that's a very nice way to accompany our customers in this SD-WAN transformation.
Yeah, I would think you do have customers that may initially need you to take care of everything, and as they mature, you're saying that you're not forcing them into an all or nothing. You can allow them to scale into exactly as much as they can handle, or as much as they need you to handle.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
And you have the same on the reverse. You have customers who want to handle everything first time, and then say, well, this is a bit too complex, or I don't want to do that, and then give it back to us.
Well, I tell you what, as we wrap up here, is there anything you want to make sure we don't go without saying? Because first of all, thank you.
No, I think that's
good?
the usual way.
You're very well spoken.
The usual way we work with Cisco. We align the best of your technology with the best of our services in order to serve our customers.
Well, we appreciate your business and your partnership as well. It's fun to go to market with you, and thanks for, I'm glad Viptela is working out well for you in the SD-WAN space. Jean-Pierre, thank you so much. Guys, please check out Orange Business Services, especially in terms of what they can do for you in that business-to-business relationship. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Great interview, Rob, as always. You know, people come up to us here at the show, they call us, they email us, and they say, okay, tell me how I get started with Cisco DNA. What do I do? Important thing to know, Cisco is going to be there to guide you every step of the way. We will help you navigate your journey to the digital ready network. You're going to know where you are at all times compared to your peers, your competitors. You're going to have everything available and right there at your fingertips, everything from readiness assessment and scalable design to automation tools, our award-winning Cisco support. This is on the security side, the Cisco iOS XP software side, DNA Center, software-defined access, intelligent WAN capabilities. What are you looking for? Network analytics, assurance, digital-ready infrastructure, you name it, it is all part of Cisco DNA. Bottom line, DNA is out there making you more agile, helping you to innovate more quickly, helping you differentiate your experience, helping your vision, and make sure that your services are out there a lot further. This is the digital age. I mean, look around us, come on. You can fight this, you can flow with it, it's up to you. We are in the digital age. So we want to be able to mine network analytics. Who are our users? Where do they come from? How are they moving through our stores, through our venues? What are they consuming? When are they consuming it? How, where? That is exactly what the digital network architecture is all about. We've got one more video. We've got our great Scotiabank customer here with us, and we want to hear what Scotiabank has to say about Cisco DNA. I'll see you all on the back end of the VT.
Welcome, thank you so much. Today we are really excited to talk about our next chapter of intent-based networking. And today we're going to talk to you about DNA Center Assurance. This is a major innovation that's going to help address one of the biggest problems that we hear from our IT customers, troubleshooting the network. We are now talking about a new technology that leverages the intelligence of the network and provides a very easy interface that's going to help our customers help isolate issues, replicate issues, and resolve issues. But rather than hearing it from me, I'd like to welcome one of our customers and tell you their experience with DNA Center Assurance. So with that, I'd like to invite Nicholas Yurkovich from Scotiabank. He's the Chief Network Engineer, and he's going to tell about his experience with DNA Center Assurance. So Nicholas, let's help the customers understand a little bit more about Scotiabank and the environment there.
Thanks so much. Pleasure to be here today. So yeah, I mean, Scotiabank's a very large organization. We're the third largest bank in Canada. We've got about 88,000 employees across the globe. We have a little bit over 300,000 IP assets that we support, and we're making a major journey towards wireless networking. Yeah.
Actually, I've heard that you guys are going to an all wireless network. You're already at 125,000 square foot and on your way to 1 million square foot by 2020. So tell us a little bit more about the challenges you're facing.
Absolutely. So about 1.5 years ago, we decided to go kind of down this journey of wireless networking. And when I say wireless networking in our space, it's not secondary access. We've actually deployed wireless as the primary mode of access in those spaces. In most of those locations, there is no longer a wired connection for the user to actually connect into. So the need for a primary mode of wireless access with stability has been a primary capability that we've had to deliver. The main challenge I would say that we've had during the life cycle of that has actually just been random disconnects. And those random disconnects typically are not necessarily related to the wireless infrastructure, but due to some other factor that might be happening. And we're looking to leverage some tools and technologies from Cisco to help identify them, such as DNA Center Assurance.
Yeah. So tell us, actually, you shared a little bit about the digital factory and what you guys are doing there to help better experience, or better improve the user experience.
Perfect. So the digital factory, it's one of our main new campus locations in the Greater Toronto area. It's about 70,000 square feet, and there's about 300 to 400 agile specialists, DevOps type workforce there. It's got a real startup type look and feel to the location, and it truly is an all wireless location. It was one of the first that we did in the last 1.5 years where we deployed all wireless. We went with Cisco's latest and greatest wireless technologies there, and we went through some significant hurdles in the beginning, but as we deployed and as we grew and as we learned, we overcame all of those things, and now it's one of the best locations that we have, and the users there, they love the ability to be wireless. The ability to roam across the office, go from activity-based working space 1 to a different type of activity-based working space, fabulous.
Awesome, that obviously will help you expand this all wireless network to your entire organization. Now, you had indicated this a little earlier when you were describing the challenges of your wireless network, but whenever a user issue comes up, the network is always the first to blame. So tell us a little bit about how DNA Assurance is changing that experience for your IT team.
Totally, totally. So of that 125,000 square feet, we've got about 25,000 of that square foot coverage with DNA Center Assurance. And what we're doing there, we're using it as essentially a pilot in the early field trial that we've been doing with Cisco to help us diagnose these issues a little bit earlier on. Today and historically, when those issues arise, we'd focus on going right down into WLCs, potentially into the access points, and it becomes very cumbersome in terms of troubleshooting. And in most cases, my engineering team is actually looking at doing those troubleshooting versus the first line support groups. With DNA Center Assurance, we've actually been able to look at DNA Center Assurance for those first line support calls, and actually is allowing us to move those calls over to the level 1 support groups to actually service and take those calls, and in many cases, handle that call much before it even has to go to a level 2, a level 3, or even to the engineering team from a support avenue.
That's great, because that's what we need to do, is help you guys free up your time. So what are you going to do with this extra time?
Absolutely. I mean, if we had the ability to free up time, I'm freeing up potentially a half or even a full resource out of my team just because of some of the value that we're getting out of DNA Assurance. That individual can go back to doing the engineering, design activities. They can look at evaluating next generation technology and doing some of the real cool things versus just the troubleshooting. Hey, I've got a problem, and it turns out to be a potential user issue in the behind the scenes.
Awesome. So tell me, what are some of the best features within DNA Center Assurance?
Well, I mean, rudimentary, the tool right out of the gate gives you this beautiful dashboard. It gives you the ability to like point, click, drill right down from the start. It gives you 2 different fields of information primarily out of the gate. The first being some insight into your network components and if they're actually healthy. Are they operating? Are they online? Do you have access points that are offline? Do you have wireless controllers that might have failed? Is there a hardware level issue? And then second that, it gives you a secondary score out of 100 essentially that replicates a user perspective of the environment. So your network infrastructure might be healthy, but your users may not be. And you can actually point and click and drill down there to isolate from there directly into what they call a 360 user view, for example, where you can actually see what that user may be experiencing, why the user may be experiencing it, and even then, if they experienced it an hour ago, 2 hours ago, or a day ago, you can actually drill down and slide the scale back, the time scale back, and looking to get that piece of information to figure out why that issue might have existed.
Yeah, it sounds like the root cause is so much easier to find.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm sure as a new technology, everyone in our viewing audience wants to know, what was the deployment experience like? So come on, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
So as I mentioned, we've got it deployed for about 25,000 square feet for us today. It's a little bit over 100 access points. It's a pair of WLCs. And this environment is one of our IT operations spaces. So the needs of the users are quite high in comparison to some of the more back office type groups. So if there's an issue, they're actually somewhat first usually to complain, first to problem identify, and the first one to actually come to us and say, hey, I've got an issue. From there, we can actually get into these tools. When we're looking at the 360 view, for example, we can drill down to, is it an issue with the actual wireless infrastructure? Is it an issue with the client device, for example? Or is it an issue with something outside of the infrastructure as a whole, outside interference, for example?
Great, so a lot of great, rich information right where you need it, right at the right time.
Totally.
That's good. Any final advice for our audience?
Totally, I would say, I mean, with wireless, I think a lot of people try and deploy it as a secondary service to start, to get their feet wet, if you wanted to call it that. I think that does work in terms of learning the technology and the infrastructure, how to build it and actually support it. But really, to do this properly and to move forward, you have to deploy it as a primary mode of access. You need to cut the cord, if you wanted to call it that, to the cable and the wired network connections to those users and force them into experience what a wireless deployment might be like, and allow your operational teams as well as your support groups to figure out how to actually support it. And DNA Assurance is really what's allowing us to do that successfully.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your experience with DNA Center Assurance. And thank you to our audience for joining us for this session.
All right, thanks so much to our fantastic customer and partner, Scotiabank. Really grateful for all that information. I'm looking down at my video monitor back over here, and boy, we are loaded up and ready to go with the next innovation showcase from Enterprise Networking on reinventing networking. We're going to keep an eye, and as soon as we see people take to the stage, we're going to head right up and begin that showcase in just a moment. Remember, 10 innovation showcases happening throughout the course of the week down at the CMAX Theater. At the end of the World of Solutions show floor, we're going to go out to the next innovation showcase right now.
Guys, hello and welcome again. I hope you remember me, or you guys have really short attention spans, which I know you guys have great attention spans because we're going to have a great session here. Now, we're in the CMAX Silent Theater, and it's the home of Cisco Live's Innovation Showcases. Now, Innovation Showcases offer a look at the latest innovations from Cisco, providing not only the context, but also the inspiration that IT professionals today need to create the future. Now, today we will be exploring the world of networking. And to tell us about reinventing networking, we have two wonderful speakers with us today, Sachin Gupta and Todd Nightingale. But before we welcome our first speaker on stage, let's take a quick look at this video, which gives us a little insight on a day in the life of the IT department.
Yeah! Yeah!
This is truly an historic day in the history of mankind. 10.28. Okay, attitude, roll 25.10.
Hey, Dylan. Can you tell me why I couldn't connect to the network at all last Friday?
And what about last Tuesday when I couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi when walking to Building 8? Or the Tuesday before that when I couldn't access half the apps?
I'm there right now. Okay, so let's take a look around and see what the problems were.
Go back in time with Cisco's DNA Center with Assurance. You probably won't play fetch with a T-Rex, but you will time travel back through your network. By collecting data from the entire network, IT can now pinpoint where and when problems occurred in the past and resolve them now. This is a big win for you and a huge victory for Clan IT.
Okay, here we are last Friday afternoon, and there you are trying to connect. And that's your problem. It's an onboarding issue because you didn't have the right credentials.
How far back can you go?
Let's travel back to last Tuesday, see what the problem was. And I can see that your mobile phone was having roaming issues in between buildings, right? Just update the software on your phone, you'll be all set. Yeah, anything else? I mean, no? Okay.
All right, welcome everyone to our session on reinventing networking. We've got a really exciting 40-minute session here with me and my colleague Todd Nightingale. Hopefully all of you attended David Geckler's keynote session. All right, everybody attended David's keynote? Great. We're going to double click on some of the technologies that David announced in that keynote. So we're going to take you through more demos. We're going to have another customer, Hans Wasters from Revo Group, join me on stage, and we're going to make it really, really special and exciting. Now, this is really personally important for me, what we're going to talk about today, because I think taking the power of data and unlocking that power to offer IT the ability to prove its innocence, I think is critical. Too many times there are problems that come about. I can't connect on wireless, I have an application issue, and the networking team is blamed. Have you felt that? It's always the network, right? Always the network? All right, so I'm so passionate about this that at the end of this session, all of you will get t-shirts that say, it's not a network problem and I can prove it. All right? So before you leave, get your t-shirt. Now, let's show you how you'll be able to prove this. We announced intent-based networking last June. We talked about how we can let IT now define intent and we can translate that into a policy that the network can understand. We can then activate that and provision the entire network with that policy. Here's my rules from a security point of view. Here's what my quality of service policies need to look like. And then finally, and we're going to spend time on this, which is assurance, we can now make sure that what you intended to do is actually being delivered by the network. With this, we introduced the Catalyst 9000 series. We introduced software-defined access for policy-based automation in a campus or branch. And we also introduced encrypted traffic analytics. We're really going to focus on the third part today, which is assurance. But before I do that, I want to let you know that customers are taking the innovation that we've brought in the last 6 months and are actively deploying them in production. So this is an example of AstraZeneca. Obviously everybody knows, very, very large pharmaceutical, brand new campus in the San Francisco area that not only runs software-defined access with DNA Center, but also integrates that with application-centric infrastructure in the data center. Intent-based networking end-to-end for AstraZeneca. And then you've got Jade University, automatically provisioning multiple campuses based on a policy. What kind of access do I have for students? What do I have for faculty? What do I have for visiting members? All done centrally using DNA Center across multiple campuses. So a much smarter way, a much more modern way, an intelligent way to run the network. Now, I was trying to think about how do I explain to you the leapfrog that we're announcing today in terms of analytics and assurance. So I thought of this example. Hopefully all of you can remember this. Remember when you needed a map, like a paper map that you fold and you take to get directions to where you're going? Hopefully everybody's used paper maps, okay? Now, I mean, you just imagine that was not a very long time ago. Now, look at how the world has changed when you unlock the power of data. Now you can get maps for how you drive there, how you use public transportation, how you can walk there, what the traffic patterns are, what are other drivers experiencing along the way, how can you find restaurants and other points of interest along the, basically where you're going along the way. All of this information is available to you contextually. So my idea is, how do we bring that, how do we unlock that power of data and we bring that to networking? Now, what's the problem we face in the network? Well, there's hundreds of network data sources. Everything can be acting as a sensor. Your switches, your APs, your DHCP, DNS systems, routers, everything is producing data. And more than 50,000 ways things can go wrong. And we have to troubleshoot this. Now, the tooling that's available is very siloed. Maybe it's only looking at application performance. Maybe it's checking configurations, checking ACLs, could be looking at access points, issues with roaming. It could be looking at authentication issues, security issues, client issues. It could be looking at WAN issues, QoS issues. It could be looking at addressing and wireless LAN capacity. The problem is all these disparate tools don't talk to each other and there's no way to bring the data together. And so what we're announcing here is how we unlock the power of the network data. You as IT can now go in and in DNA Center get the entire view for this particular user, what's going on, what was their access like, what was their application experience like, how many users could be impacted by an outage. You get the entire view so you can very quickly root cause the issue and fix it. If it's not the network, you can prove it. And if it is the network, you can find it and fix it quickly. So let's take a look at the product very quickly. This is DNA Center. We announced this last June. It's been available since August. This capability is now shipping on DNA Center as well. You see at the bottom right-hand side, the assurance button. That's where all the new capability is coming out. There you have a main landing screen. It tells you the health of the network, the health of the clients that are there. It tells you the onboarding experience that these clients are getting. How long is it taking? What's their signal strength? Things like that. It also gives you sensor-driven tests. So we have these new access points that can act as clients and can be plugged in as sensors in your office spaces so that they can simulate real clients and give you more data. And then we also get data from iOS end devices. So with our partnership with Apple, we can get data from your iPhones and your iPads and actually tell you what is the client experiencing from a security authentication and an RF experience point of view. We can also run path trace. So it will tell you every single hop that you're going through, what the configs are like. Is there an ACL rule along the way that is causing you to drop the packets? Or what is the QoS congestion issue that may be happening along the way? And then last but not least is the most important. We take 30 years of Cisco experience and bring it to you in DNA Center, where we take all this data, structured, correlated, but we also process it to tell you what the issue is, what we believe the issue is, and what are the steps you should take to remediate, right? So trying to make sure that we can help you solve that issue much more quickly. Now, I'd like to invite Vimarsh Puneet up on stage. Everybody.
Hi, Sachin.
Thanks, Vimarsh.
So,
all right, so you know, I've talked a lot about it on slides. Let's show them.
Yes.
All right, can we cut to the demo, please?
Yeah. So this is the DNA Center that we launched last year.
Yeah.
We had design, policy, provision. It used to activate the intent that you said about. So here, what I have is the assurance that we are now shipping. So assurance gives that context, okay? That takes that data and builds that correlation to give you that insight that you need. So here, when I click on assurance, it's going to give me that information of taking information from switches, routers, wireless LAN controllers, the clients.
So this is a live network now, and so the stats are from a live network?
Yeah, this is a live network.
Okay.
So here I'm looking at network 360 and the client that here, the client health is 72. I have the issues top issues that can show up here. So I have some use cases that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So first, I'm going to search on a username, Ed. So Ed is an HR user, and he has some HR application that he cannot connect to. So I'm just going to go to the user 360. So here is the client 360 page. What you see here is I have the health score of Ed. I have the time series graph of how health was behaving of our Ed. So I can look at the network. So he doesn't have any issues right now. I can see that he is connected to corporate SSID. He has this AP that he is connected to. There is a wireless LAN controller. So he said that he could not connect to an HR application. So what I will do is I'll actually run a path trace. So here I can just type the HR application, click start. So what's happening right now, DNA Center is collecting all that information of all the devices that are in the network, finding the right path, what the path from the user Ed to the HR application would take, looking at routing tables, looking at neighborships, looking at configurations, and finding the problem, the ACL issue. So he doesn't have authorization to go to the HR application. You did that in few clicks. It would have taken hours, if not weeks, to find this.
No, hang on. Let's just recap this. So I was watching the clock. That took 2 minutes.
Okay.
So in 2 minutes, a user called in, said they have an application issue. You can check that their wireless connectivity is fine. They're not impacted there. That's all good. You can test the path that their application's taking, and you can pinpoint that there's an ACL rule along that path that's actually blocking their traffic.
Yes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Could have taken hours and days before.
Hours and days.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, great. What else?
So here I'm going to go to another user. So this user, Anna. Okay. She is connected on guest network right now, but she said that she could not connect previously.
Okay, so now, so we solved an issue that was present. Now we're going to go back in time.
We are going to go back in time.
So Anna calls in, says I had an issue yesterday or a few days ago.
So here, I'm just going to go back in time when Anna had a failure.
Okay.
And actually, it shows me the issue that here, she was trying to connect to a corporate SSID, and the AAA rejected. So it's probably a BYOD device that she has not registered, and that's why the AAA server is rejected. So if you see, this entire network is maintained as a time series graph. I can look at the entire network, look at the configuration, look at the routing tables at any point of the time.
So that context is available as for any time slice?
Any time slice. So I can go back any time and look at the network.
No, hang on a question. Like, can you go into the future as well?
Yes. So here, not really into the future, but it can tell you what could happen.
Good.
Okay. So here I have a client, Helen. So Helen is connected, is working fine. There are some jitters, but the network has detected that Helen is, the user is preferring 2.4 gigahertz, but the client supports 5 gigahertz. So she could complain tomorrow that I am having this latency. And you could say that, oh, the network has already detected, because you're having some driver issue, you should be connected to 5 gigahertz so that you can get the best throughput.
So you have a client who does not have an updated driver, connects, they're connecting on 2.4, not getting the right experience, you find out. We can also find out all the clients who are similar, who may be running older driver versions, and then you can proactively have them go upgrade.
Yeah, right now I have just one client, but here it would show you that how many clients have the same issue. So in one way
so
that
you can proactively open tickets with them and say, upgrade your driver, don't call IT, it's not a network problem.
Yes.
And I can prove it.
Yes. So here, if you see these suggested actions, so the network is telling you what to do. It's like, when you do this medical test, you get the list and the doctor sees those tests, but the doctor finds the cure, because no two people are the same. Same as no two networks are the same. You are the network doctor. DNA Center just enables you to go have that edge, and I can prove it.
Vimash, thank you so much. All right. All right. Are you feeling more powerful? You're feeling more powerful, right? You want this. You want this power now. Now, we have a customer who is already using this power. the power of the network data. And I'd like to invite Hans Wasters from the Rewe Group in Austria to join me on stage. Hans has been a great partner. Everybody welcome Hans, please. Hans, let's go over here.
Hello, everybody.
So Hans, you know, if you notice on the slide, it says Rewe, but it also says Billa.
Yes.
So before we start, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
No, it's not. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I knew that it was happening.
Oh, we can hear you, so if you just talk.
So, okay, if you can hear me, then it's fine. So, we are a retailer based in Austria. Our headquarters is in Vienna, and we are present in more than 10 countries all over Europe with over 4,000 stores. And we, as a network team, we are part of the central IT department based in Austria, in Vienna. And beside us, we have other teams in the IT department, like the Unix, Linux team, like the storage team and backup team, Microsoft and all that stuff. Yeah? And in our team, we have 8 people. And we are responsible for the complete networks. That means all the LAN, the Wi-Fi, the WAN, the data center network. And we support the whole life cycle, so from planning over design and also the implementation as well as the operation.
That's excellent. So I mean, that's a very small team. You said 8 people,
yes.
Very large network.
Yeah.
So what were you trying to solve? What problems were you looking to solve before DNA Center Assurance?
So we recognized over the past 3 to 4 years an increasing number of tickets we get from the departments, from the groups which we work together, especially from the help desk, from the hotline, and from the field support staff. And so we already tried in the future to find tools and to give them information so that they can solve problems on their own. But it was always hard, especially because they have no real knowledge in the networking area. So we were looking for a tool which gives you more intuitive ideas about what the problem can be. Yeah?
And so you worked with us, and I think you helped us with the requirements as well. And then you tried out DNA Center Assurance.
Yes.
What has your experience been like?
So the experience with the DNA Center for Assurance is great so far, because it helped us with its features to have problems solved when they arrive at our help desk as our hotline, and also the field support staff could solve more problems on their own. And
so what kinds of problems are they able to solve on their own now?
Yeah, most of the time it's really just that someone is calling that the client cannot connect to the Wi-Fi. Yeah, so we tested the DNA Center for Assurance first in the Wi-Fi area, and there are because of the number of clients and users we have, so every user has at least a laptop, a tablet, a mobile phone, a smartphone, and so the number of tickets were increasing regarding connectivity issues for the clients.
Okay.
Yeah? And with the DNA Center, it's now more easy to get the hotline and the field staff equipped with a tool that they can really use to do stuff on their own. Yeah? Before we were only using prime infrastructure, and there you had those isolated alarms. Yeah, you could see alarms for access points, you could see alarms for clients. But it was not really brought into a context, so it's what was difficult when someone was calling that the client could not connect to find the right alarms to determine the cause of the problem. But now with the DNA Center, everything, all the alarms are brought into a context. And that is one thing I really like, is the introduction of this health score. We have seen this in the demo in one of the slides. So that means as soon as you log in, you can have an overview. Is the network okay? Is it healthy or not? Are the clients okay? Is it healthy or not?
It's not a network problem, and you can prove it.
Yes, right.
Exactly. That's great.
And not only I can prove it, also people without that much knowledge in the networking area can prove it.
And freeing you up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of your colleagues here who may have not started on the network intuitive, intent-based networking journey. So what advice do you have? Like, what do they need to do to get going with DNA Center Assurance?
In fact, the integration of the DNA Center Assurance was quite easy. The only thing we did, we installed the appliance, configured it, and then we added our wireless LAN controller, which were configured before via Prime. We added them to the DNA Center for Assurance, and we just added our maps, exported from the Prime, imported to the...
So you got your maps in, you had your devices export the data, connect to DNA Center, and you start seeing the value.
Yeah.
Hans, thank you for coming up here today, and thank you for making time.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. All right, so you've seen the demo, you've heard from a customer. You can now unlock the power of the data. You can now take DNA Center Assurance, and you can prove that it's not a network problem. And if it is a network problem, you can fix it very, very quickly with the power of intent-based networking and the solutions we're bringing. But it doesn't end here. It is now my pleasure to introduce on stage Todd Nightingale, SVP GM of Meraki, to share more innovations on Cisco Meraki for Assurance. Todd, welcome, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Let me get that. How many people is this freaking you out? I gotta raise a hand. It's freaking me out. I'll try one more time, then I'm gonna get rid of it. Look, I can get behind the idea of it's not the network and I can prove it. I've been working in networking for a long time. I haven't always been able to prove it. And a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, it's the network. So we can help on both fronts here. And I think what we're going to talk about today has a lot to do with that, right? It has a lot to do with how do we find out what the problems are and remediate them faster, right? But I'll be honest with you, I see a lot of green shirts in the audience. We have a lot of Meraki folks here. We came to Barcelona to launch new products. We came to Barcelona to launch new products. My CTO, I think he might be out here, he reminds me that entrepreneurship is about entrepreneurs who ship. And shipping new product is an exciting time, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it today. At Cisco, we've been talking more and more about the network intuitive, right? And the network intuitive is really wrapped by these three concepts, right? This idea of being context aware, being intent-based network, and providing assurance. And at Meraki, we've really tried to take these things to heart, right? This idea of context and being context aware, that is not about understanding packet captures and being able to read what's happening in the logs, right? It's time to stop doing that. It's time to let the cloud do the heavy lifting for us and just give us the insights that matter, right? Just give us the salient bits of information that we really need to do our jobs, right? Intent is not about being the best CLI coder, pushing config to every single device because you intended to. That is not intent. Intent is about deciding that you would like your entire network to make a major policy change like block BitTorrent or bandwidth limit YouTube, and be able to do that in a few clicks, in an intuitive interface, right? That's intent-based networking. And finally, for us, assurance is really about letting the network care for us better, right? It's about the network really acting as the doctor of our technology experience, about letting us know when we're sick and finding ways to prescribe to us the cure. That's what assurance is. And all the products we're going to talk about today, they kind of embody these ideas, right? And as you guys know, the network intuitive, that's a technology vision that stretches from the on-prem equipment across to the Meraki equipment as well. I'm just not going to use this ear because it's not working. And that hybrid network is becoming more and more prevalent, right? If you guys saw the keynote today, you saw us demo DNA Center managing both a Meraki network and an on-prem network together. And this deployment, it's gaining traction, right? Embodying the network intuitive as one solution together is really key for Cisco. And you guys, have been embracing that and deploying it more and more rapidly. And look, I appreciate that, because I think the right answer is to find the right technology for the right job, right? And today what we're really talking about, we're launching new products, we're talking about expanding the network intuitive. And the key for these releases is data. It's using data to make dashboard more intelligent, right? Our management technology, it can be smarter, and it should be, right? I just did a press briefing and I talked to reporters who implied that, well, the Meraki dashboard, it's already intuitive, it's already collecting data, it's already showing you, intent and context and assurance. And I think that, I'm glad that that's how it's viewed. I'm glad that's what the press is saying. And I think we're far along the way. But to be honest, this is just the beginning. Because, we have so much data about what's happening in the network. And if we can get better at analyzing that data, if we can bring the best, most modern AI technologies and machine learning technologies to this data, we can do amazing things. We can pull out even more clever, even more actionable insights, and we can take even more effective action and faster action. And the key is the data. You're going to see this from Meraki over the next year, us working more and more with our data to make dashboard more intelligent and launch more and more products, right? And the products we're talking about today, they really come in these two categories, right? Operational efficiency and business intelligence, okay? We're launching 3 new products today. And the first one, and we're gonna look at them all in the demo, but the first one is a brand new product line, okay? A brand new product line called Meraki Insight, MI. And it's been a long time since I've been this excited about something. This is brand new, and it's something that Meraki has never done, right? It's looking at how applications are really performing beyond just the networks that we control, right? How is the internet performing? How are the servers on the other side of this connection performing, and how does that all cohesively work? It's about making users' experience successful regardless of what the cause is, right? And that's the idea, that's the concept of Meraki Insight, is a brand new product, and we are announcing it today. It'll be launching in the next couple months, right? I cannot tell you how many times in my career I wish I'd had the tool that would tell me where is the problem. And this is that tool. And I gotta tell you, when we've been using it, and I've been running it at home for a while because I have Netflix problems, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is really interesting to really get to see for the first time where that problem is. Is it in the internet? Is it at the application server? Is it in my wireless mesh? Where is the problem? To be able to see that and see definitive proof and have the system tell you what's really going on, that's amazing. The next launch is a wireless assurance launch. We're actually launching some wireless APs at the show today too. This is one of them. I'm a Wi-Fi guy from back in the day, so I love this stuff. But we're making wireless assurance launch. You guys all saw it. You guys all saw it up on the keynote today. That's really about caring for our wireless clients, our wireless users, making sure that they're getting the best possible experience and that our gear is performing as well as it can possibly perform. And we are hunting problems, whether they be deployment problems or configuration problems, whether it's on the wired side with DHCP or DNS, or something we can control right in the Wi-Fi solution. And the last product we're launching today is a new camera. And it's a pretty phenomenal, this is a pretty phenomenal technology leap for us. About a year ago, 14 months ago, we launched our first Meraki camera, and this was it. It looks kind of similar to the other cameras on the market. Like, I get that. We didn't win any design awards for this, for the hardware at least. But this was the simplest to manage, simplest to monitor enterprise camera on the market. And the feature velocity on this thing has been amazing, right? It does so much more than it did when we launched it a year ago. But it's time to take the next big leap, right? And so today we're launching or announcing this, our newest Meraki camera. It's about 1/3 the size of the old camera, but it is 10 times more powerful. There's 10 times more processing in here. There's also Wi-Fi in here for the first time. Can you imagine a Meraki camera with Wi-Fi? It's almost like we're a Wi-Fi company. It's great. It has double the storage of the existing cameras. So for many, many customers, this camera will meet all their storage needs, and they can really start those mass deployments we've been talking about for the last year. But it's the processor performance that matters, right? Because this camera is going to be the first platform where we can really deploy the analytics needed to drive business intelligence, right? We spent some time debating, and I almost don't want to look at my product manager in the front row, but we debated the idea of should we talk about the camera as a sensor, right? We didn't have a lot of features. We launched with just one analytics feature. And maybe talking about the camera as a sensor wasn't a great idea back then, but I think you're going to see that the analytics on this camera are getting to be so powerful, maybe we don't always have to watch the camera feed, you know? The customers we're talking to who've started to think about the power of this device, they're starting to realize watching the actual video might be the least valuable thing you could do with a camera like this. And we'll take a look at all that in the demo. Can we move over to the demo? Can we move over to the demo? Great, great. Here's the demo, and we're going to start with the camera here. You guys are familiar, hopefully, with the Meraki dashboard and our camera solution. I assure you, this is a real video feed. It's a real network. It's all live infrastructure and all that stuff. This is not a real retail coffee shop. These are like Meraki employees pretending to be at a coffee shop. So, you know, full disclosure to you. Supposed to unpause here. Oh, there we go. So look, this camera has double the resolution of our old camera, so it's a crisper and cleaner image, has better optical performance, all of that stuff. But the analytics are incredibly powerful, right? And I just want to show you our first new analytics feature, which is people detection, right? If I push this button, show objects here, it's going to actually start counting people, and it's going to be able to detect human beings in the shot automatically, right? And what's really amazing about this is true machine learning. I watched these cameras get better at counting people as we train them to do that. I can't believe that's real. I'm still shocked by it. But this is actual machine learning algorithms counting people on the camera. And it happens 100% on the camera. It doesn't require high bandwidth streams to the cloud. It doesn't require DVR, analytics service. It comes with your camera license. It's really a pretty remarkable feature. And I'm going to pause the video now. Did anyone see what happened in the video feed there? Did anyone see what happened in our coffee shop? We actually had a wireless failure. So the barista tried to take a credit card. It failed. The patron got annoyed and left the coffee shop. Not great. And now he is about to call technical support. And it's going to be me picking up the phone. I can already feel it. And this is not going to be one of those cordial, friendly IT calls that I hear so much about on big stages. There's going to be expletives and yelling, right? He's losing business because his Wi-Fi is bad or whatever. His network isn't working. And that kind of brings us to our next part of our demo. You guys are dealing with mission-critical networks all the time, right? And you're getting calls like this, and hopefully you're able to save it before the call. And maybe video is not a great idea for this because it's not fun to watch when your users are angry, but it's real. But it's real, right? And if I look at what this problem, if I wanted to go and dig into this and see, well, what's going on? I take this call, I want to help him. I would probably normally go to the Meraki org overview, and I would take a look and see, where this coffee bar is and are all the APs online, and I can see that they are. At this side, he's got 4 devices and they're all working. If I drill in, I'll be able to take a deeper look, and I can see that all the clients are pretty happy. It seems to be okay, right? This is the old Meraki product, and this is just telling us, hey, the network is working, right? But let's peel the onion another layer. Let's take the next step and use wireless health, Meraki Wireless Health, to see what's really going on here. And if I click here, I can see, hey, I do have a lot of failed connections. 25% of my connections are failing, right? And if I wanted to drill in a step further, I could see what's going on and why that is. And here you can see, here you were meant to see that there was DHCP failures, but maybe, I hope they didn't fix it for me while I was sitting up here. Yeah, there you go. And here you can see that the vast majority of failures are happening in the authentication step, right? So again, the clients are not, they're not getting the credentials that they're supposed to get. And I'm missing quite a bit of, and I'm having a pretty clean experience the rest of the way, right? And so, but just by pushing the correct credentials, I could take the step to fix this stuff, right? And that's key. That's a big part of it. If it was a DHCP failure, another kind of failure, I could fix that here easily, right? What if it wasn't this? Like, what if my wireless connections were great? And look, I hope your Wi-Fi is all great, so I hope you're always in this situation. This is Meraki MI. This is the Meraki Insights product, and we're showing it at Barcelona for the first time ever. In fact, we have some of our dev team who built the product sitting right in the middle over there. How's it going, guys? Cheers. I love this thing. I feel like I can see what's happening in network for the first time, right? When that barista had his payment terminal failure, he was using Square, right? Square payments. And that's one of the, man, it's okay. And that's one of the applications that this site is monitoring, right? You can see this is a coffee shop and they're monitoring Twitter and Facebook, the things that their clients would normally do. But on top of that, they're also monitoring, as their first and second ones, their back of house, their mission critical systems. And that is their point of sale system and their inventory system, right? And his failure was in the point of sale system. And with Meraki Insights, finally I can see what's happening. I can actually hover over the 22%, which is obviously a huge problem. I can see what's causing the issue. Here, the network is actually fine. 100% of the time, the network is successful, but the application is still failing on the application server side, right? It's amazing to me that MI is able to detect that, right? In fact, when they first showed this to me, I'll be honest with you, I did not really believe it, right? But when I look at the data that they're pulling and look at the trends that they're analyzing, it really becomes obvious, right? Here you can see that insight pulled right out, right? This is true context-aware networking, showing you that you've got a server problem and you've got high latency in the server response, application server response. It's not a network problem. This is an application problem. And I can prove it. And I can prove it, Sachin. So there you go. And look at the data that's getting pulled to prove it. It's actually pretty comprehensive. It's amazing how much data has to be pulled into the engine and how much analytics has to be run in order to pull out this insight. And that's exactly what we're talking about in this launch, right? Deep analytics to provide really actionable insights. If I go back and look at the applications again, I can see, okay, the point of sale system, that had a clear problem on the network, that had a clear problem in the application, but the inventory system, that's not a cloud system, right? That's running in-house, and I don't think that's gonna be the same issue. It's a different server, so if I look at that one, I'll be able to see that the failure here is not the application server, which is running up to spec 94% of the time. The problem here is actually in the network, and I wanna drill into that, right? I could click onto this again, and really dig into the trends. And here I can see, hey, it is a network problem. So in this case, it's a network problem, and I can prove that too. That's not quite as good, but I'll take it. I'll take the knowledge, right? And if I look at the insights being pulled, you can see it also tells you what kind of network problem it is. You're losing packets at the WAN, at the router, right? At the SD-WAN router. And I find that hard to believe, right? Because the inventory system would be prioritized, right? It would have high priority. So I could go in and try to troubleshoot this, and I can see I've got 39 seconds left, so it's plenty of time. I should be fine. If I go into Site Appliance and I take a look at our traffic shaping, I'll be able to dig in and see why would we be possibly losing packets here? If I scroll down, I can see there is an inventory management system rule, but for some reason, it's set at low priority, and that's why we're losing these packets across the WAN, and this is what it takes to change that priority. I can move that up to a higher priority setting, save that setting right there in dashboard, and now I should expect to see those packets being prioritized through the router and forwarded on correctly, right? And this is the power of these new Meraki products, taking data, applying deep analytics to it, and then really letting people stretch their legs on the Meraki dashboard and remediate those problems quickly and easily. I'm super excited about these 3 launches, and I'm really excited to bring more products to market that leverage the data in the Meraki cloud. Thank you so much, and thanks for your time today. Cheers.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Cisco TV studio, coming at you live from Barcelona, here in the world of solutions. We just wrapped up another fantastic innovation showcase. This time, we're talking about how do we reinvent networking. Sachin Gupta, our Senior VP of Product Management and Enterprise Networking Business here at Cisco, along with Todd Nightingale, our Senior VP, General Manager of Cisco Meraki, talking about the next generation of networking. We have got to deliver dramatic increases in operational efficiency, they told us. We have to enable better security, become more adaptable. Cisco is on course to deliver that new set of innovations, and it's going to radically change how the industry designs, provisions, and operates access networks. Really exciting stuff. We heard about a lot of different great key innovations, making the power of the network easier to consume. We heard about how Cisco is leveraging automation and analytics to help solve the most challenging business problems that we're all facing out there today. Great innovation showcase. I hope you were a part of it. We've got another one coming up a little less than 20 minutes from now at 3:20. Make sure you're there, deploying security everywhere. Great security innovation showcase. Right now though, we're going to toss to a couple of great videos featuring my buddy Rob Boyd. He is going to begin with a demo on software-defined access. Let's check out the VT. I will see you on the back end.
Hey guys, one of the most exciting things happening from a network perspective is something we call SD access, which I believe software-defined access. And Rohan, you've explained a lot of difficult topics to me over the years. Specifically, how do you start relating this to people to kind of continue to broaden, as people come into the booth here, what SD access is all about?
So Rob, SD access is really Cisco's premier intent-based networking solution for access networks. Now, over the years, access networks have been fairly the same kind of thinking and topology. It's been about VLANs and manual configuration on every switch and every router. And what SD access tries to do is bring the concepts of software-defined networking to campus networks. Okay. And we pair that with our award-winning DNA Center, and now you can suddenly build a policy from the edge of the network all the way to the cloud with a few automated workflows.
So you almost take the most painful things that most any network engineer would avoid until they really had to, or they'd keep their segmentation so overly simple that it was kind of belaboring the point of what could be accomplished. And so you've tackled that head on, you've made these things simpler, so you're going to show me kind of how we do this through DNA Center, correct?
Yes, I'm going to show you how easy it is to segment a network without using traditional VLANs and be able to add things like IoT devices into your network with like a couple of clicks.
We'll quit talking and start demoing, all right?
So, this is DNA Center. I just went into my policy dashboard.
Okay.
And let's get into what we call our virtual networks. So as you can see, this has been pre-configured for a couple of different virtual networks. I have a campus network where I've added, in this healthcare example, a doctor, emergency services, a nurse, and a guest network. What I'm going to show you is how quickly I can add an IoT network in this and add a few groups to that network.
Okay.
So I'm just going to type IoT. And you can see I have a few groups here, HVACs, and I think I had a group called lighting, so we can just drag and drop the HVAC and the lighting group, and you save this. It's as easy as that.
So it's a drag and drop action to create the segmentation and everything that would follow. It's almost like a tag-based way of identifying these assets. So is this going to go out now and re-provision the network to be able to execute on this, basically your intent?
Precisely. So we've completely virtualized policy and abstracted it away from the networking devices. This has essentially pushed my segmentation on hundreds or thousands of networking devices in my enterprise. And not just that, now I've created a level of segmentation between IoT, guest, and campus, but I can also create a level of micro-segmentation between those heating ventilation devices and those lights. So I can add a policy that says lights and HVAC should not talk to each other. I give this a name, test, and I say deny. That's as simple as that. I save this. This particular policy is going to get pushed to every switch, access switch in my network, and no HVAC system is going to be able to communicate with lights. So the old way of going to every device, adding an IP-based access control list is all gone.
Wow, so when we created SD Access, and although it became public and it seemed kind of like it all came together really fast, this is something that the teams have been developing for quite some time because it took changes across an array of Cisco products, switches, routers, all your access devices are things that make up that network. So this has been a long time coming, and for a long time we didn't have the nice, beautiful interface of DNA Center until I think it was just Cisco Live US, I think, when we first rolled this out. But you guys continue to iterate and add more capabilities with announcements being made this week around assurance and different things like that. Anything else we need to understand here?
Yeah, so one of the big announcements we're making at Cisco Live Barcelona is about the power of assurance. So whether you have a traditional network, which people have been using for many years, or you have a software-defined access network, we have the power of DNA Center Assurance to be able to debug issues extremely quickly. So if I go into my kind of assurance tab here, I can show you how quickly we can debug issues in a fabric network, which is already set up. So I just clicked on one of the border nodes in my fabric, and I see that it's had a bunch of issues there. It says that it's lost connectivity to a DNS server, which is a pretty big problem. And it's figured that out by essentially triaging all of the data that it's collected, and it's telling you exactly in plain English what the problem is. It says the fabric border cannot reach the DNS server in the physical network. Now, to get to this point would have taken a network engineer a few hours of debugging, and we did this in like a few seconds.
And what I like here too is it's obviously putting things in English. It's correlating a lot of things that I would normally manually go through, as you were mentioning, but it's also still doing it in a language that is where the network engineer doesn't have to assume that the system is telling them something accurate. They can see, yes, that makes sense, because it's not as if we're hiding a bunch of the complexity. We're just making the complexity fly kind of in formation, so to speak.
Exactly. I think the correlation part is really important. Like, no one knows networks better than Cisco. We can correlate data from all of these network devices, from DHCP servers, DNS servers, and really give you that insights that you never had in the past.
Perfect. Rohan, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Hey, if you guys get a chance to stop by the booth and see these demonstrations firsthand, there's a lot of different things to go through with DNA Center. SD Access is probably just one of the most immediately valuable things, answering problems you didn't even know you could begin to answer, and that's the kind of solution I like, so come check it out.
Here in St. Vrain, we're lucky to have a one-to-one program so that every student in grades 6 through 12 has an iPad mini that they take home with them and they use during the day for their learning.
It's really beneficial for the students to use iPads because they're able to personalize their learning. So they're setting their own pace, their place, their direction.
We have 45 schools in our district, 32,000 students on an average day, and that means we have 40,000 devices on our wireless network.
One of the challenges in our one-to-one was making sure that our network was ready for every student to come in with a device and be ready to learn.
When I first started using Air Server, it would drop your connection or wouldn't let other kids connect to it.
The network wouldn't play nicely with what the teachers wanted to do. When students or teachers walk into their school, they expect experiences from their IT systems like they have at home. With Cisco DNA Service for Bonjour, now teachers can share with their students in a very efficient and dependable manner. We work closely with our Cisco systems engineers and the Cisco development team to provide new services that are mission critical.
With the iPad program now, students are able to use AirPlay to collaborate and work together. So now instead of seeing every single device in the school, they're only going to see the devices that are close to them.
You can imagine with 32,000 iPads around the school district, a few of them get lost by students. Well now, because all of the APIs in the wireless network and the DNA service for Bonjour all work together, what happens now is students log onto a web page and it tells them what classroom their iPad is in. A teacher just last week described the service as rock solid. It really is a game changer.
When you see a student get excited about their learning, especially when they're using technology, what you see are kids who are willing to go above and beyond.
It's just what I want education to turn into. It's what personalized learning is. Every kid having their own path, they're really able to drive their own learning where they want to go.
When the youngest and brightest, most inquisitive minds are paired with experienced and passionate educators and partners that are equally dedicated to their futures like Cisco, together we can make an amazing future.
Wow, I absolutely loved that video. That was the determination